Hi, I'm Mayor Katie Gallagher, and as you can see, 2018 was an amazing year, but I'm looking forward to even better 2019. I want to thank all of the employees, the volunteers, and all the residents who make this city great each and every day. And included in some of those employees is my administrative team. I want to thank my Executive Secretary Jill Ludwig, Police Chief Scott Melke, one of our newest additions, Chief Kevin Paul, who joined us this March. He's been a longtime Brooklyn firefighter here and lieutenant. Service Director John Verba, our Finance Director Tom Raguse, who's also new this past August, Building Commissioner Dave Kulsar, Recreation Manager Maria McGinty, our Law Director Kevin Butler, Economic Development Director Andy Udris, and our Senior Director Karen Frado. This team really helps me develop plans and push them out all year long, but it's all of our employees, our full-time and our part-time, that get everything done, so I want to thank them once again. As far as our City Council, our legislative body, we had a great year working together, and I want to thank them for all they do. Our City Council President Ron Van Kirk, Kathleen Pucci, Kevin Tansky, Mary Bell Beer, Barb Plitsky, Andy Selhertz, and Meg Ryan Shockey. This past year in our Brooklyn Safety Forces, we had a lot going on. But we did see a decrease in calls of our fire and EMS about 4.5% to 2,812 calls. But I want to give you a little history about this. Although we've seen a decrease in calls, if you look back at Brooklyn's history, about 20 years ago compared to today, this is a 41% increase in calls. And in our police station, we also had a decrease in calls, but this is a 50% increase of calls if you look back 20 years ago. This is in large part due to the fact that in our fire department, we've had increased calls in EMS services, and this is as our population ages. And in our police department, this is because we have two major highways that goes through the city of Brooklyn, as well as we have a huge daytime population. The recent stats is we bring about 13,500 extra employees here per day. So this increases the number of calls that we have. So it's vitally important that we make sure that we are always constantly prepared in our safety forces. That's why we've added additional personnel in our fire department this past year, and we plan on adding a couple officers this upcoming year. As far as other initiatives that we've done in our fire department, we had an overhaul of our fire prevention unit. They did this in conjunction with the building department to make sure that all of our commercial buildings are up to code, and they've turned this all into an electronic format. As far as in our police department, some initiatives we've done is we've done electronic payroll systems. A once archaic program is now all done right on a computer, and all the police officers can go right on their phones and put in their schedules. One initiative that is going to impact all of you heavily is the fact that we're going to be moving from Parma Regional Dispatch to Chagrin Valley Regional Dispatch this June. We took your feedback over the last couple years, and we decided that this move would give you a better service. We're looking forward to this new partnership we will have with Brecksville, Independence, Valley View, Newburgh Heights, and Broadview Heights, as well as Brooklyn Heights. And we think that this relationship will have an improved service for all of the residents in our community as well. This past year, we began to share our part-time animal control officer, Miranda Brody, with Parma Heights. This relationship allows us to keep Miranda full-time here in the city of Brooklyn as well as Parma Heights, and provides a better service for all of us. She, along with in Parma Heights, have updated both of the codes to make sure that we're in compliance with state code. In our safety forces in total, we've allocated about $840,000 in 2019 towards various items. This includes 5 patrol vehicles, radios, vests, defibrillators, and bullets. In our recreational center and our senior center, we've done a lot this past year to help improve our services, including a complete update of all of our pool boilers and sand filters that haven't been replaced since the center opened. We dropped the pool, painted it, and did a lot of replacements. So we hope that you can see the differences. We've added some new activities, including cheerleading, private swim lessons, concerts in the park, and we had a doggy swim day before we dropped the pool. We've also had various park improvements, including new equipment and painting various buildings. In our senior center, we're just happy to provide a whole bunch of services for our seniors to do every day. So we added some new ones. They went on a Nautica cruise, and we provided an ice cream truck cookout for them this past year, which was a big hit. In 2019 and beyond, we've allocated about $230,000 to improvements in these areas, including a scissor lift, new picnic benches, a steam room renovation, updated lighting in our recreation center, and a new fence for our outdoor pool. We also will be replacing 2 sets of equipment of our playground with a grant that we received. And we also are exploring hiring a new recreation commissioner, I should say. And we believe that this recreation commissioner will help us offer better services for our residents. At one point, the City of Brooklyn had 11 full-time employees working at the recreation center. Today, we have 5. We've felt that after surveying the residents over the course of the last couple of years, they want us to add in more services for them in our recreation area. And we can't do that with the limited amount of employees that we have there right now. So we will be adding a new full-time recreation commissioner. Additionally, this past year we received a grant from NOACA, and we will be adding a new senior van. In our service department, our numbers are all high, and they're on the move, keeping the city activities done. They had 1,700 service calls last year. They picked up 3,200 tons of rubbish and 720 tons of recycling, as well as 2,100 tons of composting, and they deposited 1,800 tons of salt. This is with limited personnel as well. At one point in our service department, we had over 40 full-time employees. Today, this is in the low 20s. So I thank the service department employees for all their hard work with the number of limited manpower that they have. In 2019, the capital allocation for our service department was $267,000. With this, they have purchased a sign machine. So as you see various events go up with the signs on the poles, we'll be able to do this all in-house, as well as improved street signs, stop signs, and everything can be done right here in the city of Brooklyn. We'll have a new truck, F-250, as well as an aerial bucket truck. I know what's important to residents at all times is street construction. We've dedicated $3.2 million in street construction funds this year. This includes updating American Road as well as an extension into that parkway. We will be turning a part of that area into public roads, as well as Hurricane Alley, the city's portion, which includes 400 feet from Ridge Road near the library. We will be performing crack sealing on all of Biddulph, as well as repouring on West Biddulph. We'll be performing work on Clinton Road with the repair and crack sealing, as well as a full repave and repair of Ansonia, which will complete all of the streets in that particular area. Other construction will include the Slope New Best Buy, which we have been talking about for the last couple of years. This is an ODOT funded project and will kick off this spring. In our building department in 2018, we had about 1,300 exterior inspections and issued about 455 violations. Our rental licenses has increased to 407. We don't believe that we have any more rentals in this area. We are just being a little bit more proficient about catching the people that are renting. The county did do a procedure this year where they sent out postcards to all of the different owners of houses that they are renting, which is a Ohio revised requirement, and so they sent us a list, so we were able to see if there was any residents in this area renting that we did not know about. I'm happy to say that our vacancy and foreclosure permits have gone down from last year, which is a very good sign of a healthy housing stock. And we had $27 million in construction in our city last year. A bulk of this was $11.5 million in Menards and $4.5 million at the old American Greetings property owned by IRG, and $2.4 million in residential permits alone. Our exterior maintenance program is so important to us. It is our goal every 5 years to touch every single home in Brooklyn to look at the outside. And this upcoming year, the streets we'll be concentrating on is Biddulph, south to Idlewood, Tiedemann Road, Manoa, Memphis, and if we have time, by the end of the season, to hit the homes behind the Westbrook Apartments. Other news, we have lots of new businesses in Brooklyn in 2018. You could see the list up there. We're happy to have all of these new businesses. Rhino Systems, Taylor Group, Healthmore are all different businesses that have been added to the American Greetings property. Many of you have seen Brooklyn Point, our first senior assisted facility in Brooklyn. And we have just so happy to fill some space and little businesses like Mom's Pierogi or Nail Supply Store in Biddulph Plaza. Some new businesses for 2019 and beyond, including Menards, which will have their grand opening April 30th, TRG Studios, which will go into the old American Greetings building, Medical Mutual of Ohio will also go into the old American Greetings building, Fairfield Inn & Suites plans to build this upcoming year, Raising Cane's Chicken will demolish the old Perkins and build new at that location. And a Ross Dress for Less will be added to the Ridge Park Square property where Tops used to be. I know it's a vacancy I hear often from residents. When is that going to be filled? I think one of the greatest stories here in Brooklyn today is looking at American Greetings property and just seeing our progress. From the time I started in office to the time that they left, the time that we start to see businesses coming in. And so I really want to show you what this looks like now. So since the beginning, after American Greetings had left until now, we have 8 new businesses that are located in this park, 1,700 committed jobs with over $90 million of committed payroll. This is really a success story for the city of Brooklyn. We are a tremendous location, and I'm so happy to bring these businesses here as it's 50% leased up, and we will continue to advertise Brooklyn as a great community to be in. As you can see, that 1,700 committed jobs means a lot because when American Greetings announced that they were selling off part of their company and laying off this year, they were at 1,700 employees. Although the payroll might be a little higher than it is here with these 8 businesses, it will continue to expand in Brooklyn, and we will no longer depend on one major business. We will be diverse, and that is good news for all of us. Speaking of our financial overview, last year we brought in a revenue of $22.9 million, and we expended a little more at $24 million. This is much to do with the fact that we know what's coming and we know the payrolls to expect. And we ended our year with a healthy general fund balance of $16 million. The bulk of our expenses goes to the wages and benefits of our employee at $12.3 million. And we had a huge allocation for capital last year at $12.7 million, as well as $1.1 million was put into our Economic Development Fund. I think one of the greatest things is we haven't touched our budget stabilization fund. We put all of this money aside thinking that we're going to have to expend it for when American Greetings left, and we didn't have to touch it. So as we go through some of our needs, we want to make sure we allocate these resources that we have in the best possible manner. One thing that we did proactively this year on the financial end is put $1.5 million into our workers' comp fund. This will pay for 5 years of expenses in this area and will avoid having to take out money of our general fund for these expenses. As well as we added a capital reserve fund. So as our buildings are aging, as our infrastructure is aging, we have set aside money specifically for this purpose of repairing these things. A couple slides I added into my State of the City this upcoming year are things about our property values. I think this is important for people to see where we were and where we've come. If you can look at this graph, you'll see in 2000, our median home sales price is where we are in 2018. The recession at the peak, our peak values were in 2005, and after the recession, we dipped to our lowest values in 2012. And as you can see, since 2012, we've had a steady increase in our median home sales price, but we're not there yet. We continue to need to do a lot of work in this area. At the sectennial update, we saw a 13.5% increase in residential values and a 4.4% increase in commercial values, which is actually lower than the county average for the commercial end. And one of the things we in the city are is we want to invest in helping you guys improve your homes. So this upcoming year, we're going to be offering an exterior maintenance grant program. Residents can apply for up to $3,000 to do exterior repairs or landscaping improvements to their home. We will be deciding those residents based upon the needs of the repair, if they have any outstanding violations, whether they are current with their property taxes, which you must, as well as if you are in a fixed income or just need that little extra money to make that repair. We want to assist residents in this, and as well as continue working with partnerships like Habitat for Humanity as we receive houses out of a foreclosure process. We work with Habitat for Humanity in partnership with Medical Mutual to flip these homes so we help streets improve as we see them. I think to really see the impact of our housing stock going up, taking a look at the average sales price per square feet is important. You can see a year ago today, we went up 15.7% and per square feet. In the previous year, about 30%. This is great news for Brooklyn homeowners as your home values continue to increase. But we know this and we want to offer programs to our residents. We do have to consider some of Brooklyn's demographics. When you're looking at the Brooklyn's demographics compared to other communities, our median household income is $45,000, which is lower than the county average. So we need to make sure that we're protecting our most vulnerable in this community. We have 1,400 people who live in poverty in Brooklyn. So we want to make sure that we are helping in this area. So this year we're going to partner with a nonprofit to provide fresh food, fruit and vegetables right behind our city hall. And this will be offered once a month at the tail end of the month, and you'll be hearing about this in the upcoming weeks. As far as 2019 and beyond, we are going to continue to work on bringing in businesses to One American Way. Additionally, we're going to be actively searching for a tenant for the corner of Tiedemann and Memphis. As you recall, we purchased these 7 parcels and consolidated the lots, and this upcoming year we're going to be demolishing the 2 houses that are sitting on the lots, and we're going to actively try to find the best use for that property. Additionally, we'd like to continue to have our conversations with the school about the Hurricane Alley. I think this has been clear through most of the surveying that we've done, as well as through the master plan process. This is what residents are looking for. The city and school to work together for the best interest of the residents of Brooklyn. We are tapping from the same resources, and so we should be working together as much as we can to make sure that we can get as many things done with our financial constraints. One of the big things that's happening this year is we are updating our master plan. We have a steering committee of residents and business owners that are working on this, as well as we'll have several public meetings. Some of the things that the city administration have identified that we need to take a look at through this process is all of our municipal building needs. We have about $20 million of repairs that we have to do. Most of those repairs are in the police station, city hall area, and in the recreation center. So these are areas we'd like to concentrate on and talk about what does Brooklyn look like in 10 years from now. As well as we need to take a look at our zoning code, which hasn't been updated since the early 90s, and take a look at where Brooklyn has come. What are the businesses and what are the residential areas that are there now that weren't there on that map in the early 90s? And update the codes, making it a little bit more friendly to those that have come in and want to increase value into our community. Another thing we're going to be working at, we're going to be working closely with the Cuyahoga County Public Library, who's looking to do a library renovation this year and expand their footprint. And so they will take a big part in this master plan update and come out to the residents, ask them what they are looking for and what they need and what they see as the library wants to continue to grow. Additionally, we want to make Brooklyn a little bit more walkable and bikeable. We're sort of a void in the map when you look at trails and the greenway trails that the Metro Parks did. So how do we connect the trails that go from the zoo to the trails in Parma? So we seamlessly have the people, the residents, are able to go on their bike or walk through those trails. And additionally, we'd like to update the city seal. As we move on to the master plan, I wanted to end on some of the stats that we have so far. We've done an initial noise analysis with the steering and project teams. Noise meaning needs, opportunities, improvements, strengths, and exceptions. And some of the things that we've heard over and over again, to highlight the most important, and I know this slide is probably hard for you to read. So adding new businesses and replacing the vacancies was mentioned numerous times. Creating a partnership with the school, as I already said. Prioritizing safety, which we've heard over and over again. And as you can see at the city level, this means a lot to us as we continue to add on safety forces. Street repairs and adequate traffic flow is important. A new, diverse, and modern housing. One of the struggles that we have in the city of Brooklyn is that we really don't have anywhere to grow. We have bungalows and ranches in our community, and that's not a bad thing, but we don't have a diverse housing stocks. So which means that we don't have a lot of 4-bedroom homes, 2 bathrooms for families to grow. So once they reach a certain point in their lives, they're moving out of Brooklyn. How do we get that kind of housing stock here and keep people here to live here and grow with their families? Or how do we provide a more open floor plan for the units that we do have? As I already said, new and updated municipal facilities. I think the residents are well aware that we need some of these. New young families, how do we bring some of them in? And expanding our green space is a comment that we heard over and over by both the steering and master plan committee. Some of the current conditions that the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission identified is that we're an ideal location. Well, we all know that, so let's monopolize on that. Let's put it as part of our marketing plan. We had an overall population decrease like the rest of the county, but we had a higher rate of millennials and seniors moving into our community. So what's bringing those people in, and what's not bringing the middle set of people in? We had an increased number of 3-person homes, but a huge decrease in 2- and 4-person homes. As I already said, our housing stock is not equipped for 4, 5, 6 family members. As far as in our education, we had an increase in college, but this was lower compared to our peer communities. So we have to ask ourselves why, and how do we get better in this area? And as I already said, we had a lower than median household income. With some of our preliminary survey results, we saw that the majority of people who responded to the survey were 55 years and older, and that they were homeowners. The people that responded to the survey said that we need to establish a support for small businesses here in Brooklyn. So it's one area we need to look at, as well as preserve as much green space as possible. They like the city to look at a town square option, that we need more streetscaping in the city of Brooklyn, and then we need to provide, as far as recreational services, indoor walking track, indoor pool, and more senior activities. This is an area of the master plan that I want to reach out to you. If you didn't have an opportunity to fill out a survey, that one was sent, and you have ideas about how you see our community 5, 10, 15 years from now, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or one of your city council representatives. It's important that we hear your feedback. It's important that you come to these public meetings. We need, as your government representatives, a blueprint of items that you feel comfortable with so we can move this city forward and be the best possible city we can be. So I thank you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email is Gallagher, Gallagher, @brooklynohio.gov, and my office telephone number is 216-635-4220. And thank you for letting me serve as your mayor.